fear I smell.
Нормально, слушай, нормально. Сразу же. Просто первая катка и сразу же бан на Катарину. Нормально. Нормально. Неплохое начало. Но я уже протестил, в принципе, мету на Западе. Здесь неплохо на таком низком элло сейчас заходит Тимоха. Блять, ну вот это что за фишка? Картус в джангл. Что? Зачем? Зачем, ребята? Мы уже проходили, это не работает. Нет, не надо его пикать в джангл. Это забей. Такая себе, в общем, была идея. Но... Тимон. Где у меня Тимон? Тимон через жатву заходит прям вообще шоколадно. Танчик у нас есть, в принципе, инициатор. Так что можно будет что-то тут выиграть. Ну, хотя, что-то у них танков много. Прям дико много. Тут фулл пробивание. Как-то так. Hello, guys. Ну, все-таки он пикнул картуса в лес. Ладно, я понял. Что у нас будет тут? Аша разносить? Аша до люкса. У них, возможно, Ургот. Кто там на топе? Орн против Ургота, да? Ля, вот у них, короче, Сарака в саппортах. Это такой себе пик. Че, у меня ни одного скинчика нет. Что-то повис клиент. А, погнали. У ложки огонь скин. Ну, ребята вроде не наигранные никто. Хотя у нас США 88. Ну, карту 100 тысяч. Ладно, я понял. Через жатву тоже подск идет. Ну, слушай. Типа, в принципе, с одной стороны, на картусе есть смысл там. Ну, типа, он может быть каким-то образом полезен в лесу. Это, типа, только добиванием своим. Ну, либо, если там замес какой-то начинается на боте, то он дает ульту. Из пацанов, да, хотя, не знаю, против Сараки на боте вообще не будет смысла, мне кажется. Дико тяжко будет пацанам стоять. Имха. Кто у них? У них Лулу... блядь, Лулушка, говорю, Поппи, ништяк скины на Лулу. Они похожи немножечко. Скины у них. Поэтому частенько путаю. Че, погнали? Гоу-гоу-гоу. Рок-н-ролл. Ну, у нас даже ребята плюс-минус не афкашивали. Так, это что за бабочки тут летают? Стрекозы. Аша пишет, я надеюсь, картус хорош. Я бы не надеялся на это. Ну, типа, рели. Ну и, кстати, походу на Весте пикать картуса в лес — это вообще изи. Так, Поппи начинает с красного. Значит, первый ганг на бот будет. Тик. Так, сейчас главное сильно особо тут не запушивать. И фармить. Угу. Вижу Поппи. Слушай, он ее, по-моему, неплохо так продамажил. Так, а тут типа должна быть уже стенка у Мегера. Эх. Так, я иду. Ой-ой-ой, на боте-то как все плохо. Такая себе стенка была сейчас. О, мне отдали бафчик красный, это хорошо. Не успел, ладно. Да, мне бы, конечно, лучше синий баф, а не красный. Жатва есть. Второй стак, по-моему, да? Если не ошибаюсь. Так, что у него там по хилкам? Еще две, да? А, нет, одна. Так, без 20 от жатвы. Пока что не будем врываться. Подождем, пока она откатится. Ох. Жатва. Есть. Чё, потихонечку, помаленечку на баф уже спадает. У него уже хилок не должно быть, по-моему. Жатва без 20. Скоро можно будет вырваться. Без 15. Уже можно, в принципе. Не дает подойти пока что. Так, один стак плюс. Хорошо. Сейчас еще... А, нет, свои горы я уже не получу. Она в откат ушла. Ладно, чё. Ну, зачем? О май гаш, картус. Свали. Отдал флеш для чего-то вообще непонятно. Так, у нас там топ не отъедет сейчас. Вроде не должен. Долго что-то минера нет. Эх, в крипах запутался. Эх, не догорит. Но если он типа соберет хоть один гриб, ну нет, видимо не будет он, да, оставаться. Да, не стал оставаться. Ну, 5 стаков уже есть, уже неплохо, слушай. Типа 8 минут и 5 стаков. А общий счет у нас как-то не очень, 5-2. Я вот что-то не зачекал, игнайт он отдал, не отдал. Стоп. Есть. Так, флеш. Отлично. Поппи отдала флеш, но все-таки ушла в мирной. Ну, слушай, на боте я думал, типа, все печальнее. Ой-ой-ой, на топе все. А, нет. Мне показалось, что там один этот остался уже. Одна пластинка. Давай, Вейгер, собирай гриб. Хорош. Давай второй собирай. Хорош. Типа я еще не успел прийти, а уже у Вейгера пол лица нет. Неплохо. Эх. Так, что там за замес? Эх. Да, давай Поппи встретим. Да, можно забрать, давай заберем. Хуёво. 550. Вот сейчас бы типа вот этого поцика я убил бы, и как раз бы был и там. Топеру надо было первым идти. Че, Вейдер будет собирать лицом грибы? Эх, обошел-то как хорошо. Ой-ой-ой, джанглер, боже мой. Минус флеш. Эх, не догорит чуток, ладно, ничего. И у меня флеша не было, чтобы его забрать. Кого не забрал в итоге. Скорее всего, бэкнет сейчас. Плюс так. Есть один. И бафа дали. О, он меня вместе с этим выкинул, вместе с крабом. Ля, он еще этого забрал. Давай зайдем. Минус. Чего у них вижена тут не было или что? Непонятно. Ой. Ну, ежик. Так, есть два итема. Так. Что, не будет же он Геральда забирать? Будет. Так, у нас топ снесли. Понял. Что так долго-то летело все? Типа это легально вообще, что он так бегает быстрее меня, когда я под ускорением? Ох, пизда мне. Попался. Вот пронесли. Ну, чё, карту джангл? Что тут сказать? Утонул, да, все-таки, я понял. Как-то так. Что там? Ургот, по-моему, подрасфидился чуток. Ох, она просто лопнула, понял, со стаков. У меня их уже 17. Неплохо, слушай. А как он по мне дал автоатаку, если типа я в него кушку кинул? Непонятно. Тут пизда. Минус флеш. Ой, лесник, ну такой лесник, блядь. Ульт. Чё, дракон у них, да? Нет, у нас, слушай. Неплохо. О, сука, он даже попасть, блядь, не может. Да ёб твою мать. Да, надо бы купить этот, кто он. Какую-нибудь типа завесу банши. Ульта. А, нет, ульта, я понял. Ах, не попал. Слушай, а он неплохо дамажит. Типа, я даже не понял, как он сейчас забрал Сараку. Кто это у нас там? Лесник. Сука, довезли же все-таки до гриба. Ясно. Ой, блядь, ну это просто мертвый топер. Он еще ни разу не попал своей ультой. Что, запушит кто-то что-то, нет? Ну, видимо, нет. Но они хотя бы Геральда не взяли. Уже хорошо. Неплохо. Сараку забрали, уже полдела типа. Ну куда вы за киллами погнались? Так, ну пацаны, может быть, сейчас бот снесут. Да. Есть одна башня. Давай встретим. Я тоже не встретим. Ох, как больно-то. Что, блядь? На чем я встал, я не понял только. Ладно. За попой уже не успею. Башню зато заберем. Useless support. Так. Блять, ну. Хз, банши попрет. Куда у меня гриб сейчас сделался? Большая пачка на топе. Ну, картус-то должен отдефать здесь. Ну, так себе, конечно, дамага проходит сейчас. Угу, вижу. Надо на мид идти. Ой, блядь, пиздец. Хоть раз-то попади. Контролем. Непонятно, почему не я забрал, ну ладно. Что там, на гриб кто-то встал, нет? Отлично. Блять, ну ебучие волки, а. Эх. Ну, должен добить карту, в принципе, да? Все, отходим. Уходи, дружище, уходи. Так. Ну, на штукарь я сейчас особо ничего не возьму. Единственное, что вот этот вот этом. Ну, уже попроще будет. Уже минус ингиб на миду. Уже будет попроще явно. Да, давай зайдем. Минус ульт. Хуй попадет, смотри. Попал, смотри-ка. Что, блядь, с контролем? Я не понимаю, как я в контроль встаю, если... Блядь, непонятно. Это движение. Ну, нехуй там ловить уже. Тридцать стаков уже, ежик. Неплохо. Неплохо. Ну, хоть так. Пизда, Аша, по-моему. Ну, надо было добивать. Ну, пиздец, могла бы убить Аша, если бы не тупила. Да, неплохо карту съебашит. 22 стака уже. Пацаны. Топ надо забирать. И на Шора надо всего там упикать грибами. Ой, слушай, у нас, блядь, 3 дракона. Как хуй его знает. Есть. Так, ну чё, башню забрали? Бля, а чё у меня тогда хуя маны уходит? Непонятно. Ушла, сучка. Вот он. Виктори. Виктори, Виктори. Ну слушай, неплохо тебе матч зашел. Кого тут лайк? Ладно, шел лайки. Так, иконку какую-то дали. Но я думаю, у меня топ-дамаг. Нет, смотри, у картуса. Ну такое. Watch, who is with watch? Аша. Ну, окей, лайк. Ой, лайк говорю. Friends. Так, что у нас? Перекурчик, наверное. 8 побед, 9 поражений. Окей, я понял. Таймбрейк. Погнали, что у меня, кстати, есть сундучок. Надо его... Ах, не то. Сейчас мне какая-нибудь Катарина выпадет, на которой у меня нет этих... Как они называются? Эссенции. Блять, вард. Спасибо. Спасибо, Рита, за вард. господи, 960. Но за Витю я катать не буду, это инфосотка. За киллу вряд ли, но за нее 90 дают. Такое себе. Чего у нас 1-0? Я, кстати, не посмотрел, поскольку ЛП сейчас дают. 29 ЛП. Ворам что-то не особо хочется катать сейчас. Поэтому, видимо, минус этот, кто он, квест. Кстати, возможно, у меня на кату нет этого, нет сундука. Хотя, да, нет сундука за кату. А у меня ключи же есть там, да, еще 2, по-моему. Угу. Такое себе, такое. Тимарь на топ, ну такое себе, такое. Ясо... Что началось, ребятки? What the hell? Войну забрали, это плохо. Так, надо бы рунки поменять. Адаптивка. Давай, джангл, пикайся. Пока что меня беспокоит только война. Блять, еще и карту забрали. Охуенно. Так, кого мы вкатим? Голфита мы вкатим. Так. Так, а во второстепенных как что возьмем? Ну, наверное, так. Наверное, так. Че, у меня тут тоже нет скидочек, да? Ну ладно, че. Беда, конечно, беда с пиком. Уже вторую игру подряд не могу я забрать Кату. Первый раз ее банили, второй раз ее пикнули. 130 тысяч. Ну, чувак наигранный. Инфа сотка. У нас, ну, Ксин плюс-минус. Тимар немножечко. Ну, я думаю, самая опасная most danger will be Катарина. Так, а я на медуже против... О, так слушай, он идет через эти рунки, через завоевателя. Насмотрелся гайдов, чувак. Кричер. Надеюсь, это не какой-нибудь сморф. Что они делают? Они фидят ПКД или что? 1.18 лол. Нормальная игра, чё? Ох, Катарина. Ладно. Да, этот фидит, кто он, Гека. А чё не ссорят-то? А, рано еще. Я понял. Он рофлит, я понял. Так, ну мне тут надо по-любому кольцо и не одно, скорее всего. Но у них такой довольно странный пик. Что топ? Ну хотя-то у них только топ странный. Остальные типа норм. Так, ну тут, кстати, через блица можно сыграть. Ой-ой-ой, блиц, ну как же так-то, а? Как можно было вплотную промазать? Ой, МГ, блиц. Так, ну Ката минус флеш, это хорошо. Это неплохо. А чё, вижен будет? Там нет? А, там уже стоит вижен. Возможно, Катарина туда уйдет с базы. Не отдались бы там пацаны только. Так, вот мидера я не вижу пока что. Держи. Ну и что ты меня бьешь? Эх, не успел. Эх, беда. Держи. Так, есть второй. Шинка откатилась. Держи. Да, не успевает он от кометы уйти, потому что замедление дикое. Но так я немножечко проседаю по мне. Успел. Так, что, скоро откатится? Да. щит. Держи. Какая-то хилка пошла, я уж хз. По счету. Как так-то? Успел? Успел. Успел. Держи. Ну слушай, по-моему, у него не осталось хилок, насколько я понял. Но он подходить уже не будет. Ох. Лисонг, по-моему, через эти шел, через молнию. Да. Ката СС, ну Ката, наверное, на базу пошла. Лисин там на бот идет. Лисин камен бот. Эх! Не добил телегу. Что за печаль? Да, мне бы, конечно, типа в лес сбегать за кустом. Так. Ну, чё, у меня плюс-минус скоро 5-й. О, тут только ФБ. Не успеваю. Так, у нее 4-й еще, да? Но мне не хватит, типа... Маны не хватит, чтобы ее набить. Когда появится ульт. Дамага не хватит. Держи. Эх, не успел. Есть ульт, но не хватит маны. Здорово, Витя, здорово. Вить, спасибо за фоллоу, но я не даю обратный фоллоу. Ну, типа, мне нужны только живые ребята. Минус. Все, сейчас можно бэк. Собираю только живые фолловы. Ой, сорян за звук. Так, мне нужна вот эта вот штука. Ботинки, в принципе, можно подождать. Что там на боте? Движняк какой-то. Ух, там неплохо их раздамажили-то всех. Нет, кто-то пришла все-таки, окей. Но она как бы фармит, но главное ее типа не выпускать. Держи. Такой себе дэмэдж, такой себе. Ну типа все в щиток ушло. Держи. Эх. скорее всего, Ката сейчас на бот придет. Возможно, даже сделает килл. Нет, Ката тут. Боится как? Прыгай сюда, дружище. Ох, это зря было. Ох, тут зря. Ну, Ксин. Прям не вовремя зашел, ну ладно. Эй, мои крепцы. Я их не успел. Успел. Ну, она сейчас по-любому сюда будет прыгать. Неплохо так в нее дамаг входит. А сейчас ее можно забирать. Ну, типа, если чуть-чуть пораньше бы откатился этот. Эх, промазал я ультой. Ну, я даже выжил. А Ката отдастся, если у него уйдет. Скорее всего, уйдем, да? Угу. Я их промазал. Точнее, вообще не туда ударил. Чё, куда все ушли? Да, неплохо в нее зашло. На пол хп просто. У меня, в принципе, есть 30 секунд. Поймаешь, нет? Ясно. Долго думал, блиц. Очень долго думал. Эх, чуток не хватило. Ну, слушай, 6 секунд до ульты. Если я кушку в нее просажу раз, можно разбайтить на изи. Ну, кого ты бьешь-то? Ну, чё, будет прыгать, нет? Ладно, я понял. Угу, Ксин заходит, понял. Не подходит, но раньше. Ладно, че, бэкаем. Че, Ксин пусть запушивает, а я бэкаюсь. Куда телепорт? За Тиморя? Ну, это зря было. Это прям очень зря было. Ладно, засмотрелся. Немножечко не хватило, мне 200 голды. Минус ульт. На боте вроде неплохо. Да у нас в целом неплохо 6-1. Типа, чё нет, можно катать. Дракона бы забрать нам было бы прям вообще волшебно. Ботиночки, ну нет. Нет, пожалуй, нет. Так, вижу Кату. Ну, что сказать, Ката сдулась. Есть дракон. Хорошо. Так, где Ката? Вижу Кату. Она уже под башней стоит. Держи. Больно. Иду. Ну, блять, лесник, а я ору с него. Пиздец какой-то. Ага, вижу Кату. Что зайдет? Ну, должна, по идее. Ну что, блядь, с рейнджом-то? Что за херня? Че, у нее пистолета еще нет, отжираться она не будет, хотя она типа ботиночек купила, ну такое. Уже, кстати, поменьше в нее дамага проходит. Ну, прям заметно поменьше. Хотя, типа, когда я возьму эхо Людана, ясно. Так, что у нас на топе? Ну, на топе вроде все неплохо. Так же, как и на боте в целом. Ой-ой-ой. Вот только сказал, что неплохо на всех линиях. И у нас бот отъехал. Ну, типа Лисин у них лучше отыгрывает пока, чем наш Ксин. Так, есть Геральт. Хорошо. Эх, крипы, живите. Есть. Всех забрал. У нее просто четверть хп сейчас взорвалась. Ксин ульту прожал. Что, блять? Нормально вообще, нет? ПБ, скорее всего, будет. Хорошо. Минус еще одна башня должна быть. Надо посмотреть, типа, сколько в АДК приходит. Ёжик, пол хп просто у пацана отпало. Да, был бы у меня типа играть, я бы его уже забрал. Держи. Неплохо, слушай, дамажит. Все, бэчим. Бэкаем. Так, а что у них по тиме? Ладно, окей, как-то так будем собирать. Да, Катарину выключили из игры уже. Я думаю, она типа сейчас вообще никому ничего не сделает. Ну хотя типа итем один есть, АДК в принципе она может убить раз на раз, если у нее будет игнайт. Если он без саппорта будет ходить. О, у меня есть игнайт. Держи. Держи, дружище. Так, лисина вижу. Вижу. Давай, чё, влети в меня. Осмелься. Так, ну это минус ульт от лисина. Угу. ТФ еще тут. Пол хп просто с прокаста. Просто пол хп пацану оторвал. Держи. Тимоха там уже грибов нахуярил. Задефайте кто-то башню. Угу, спасибо. Да, кат просто унижают уже все, кто можно. Че, я пока понесу немного башни. Мид кто-то задефает. Держи, дружище, на четверть хп. Башни, в принципе, чуток осталось. Живу? Нет, не живу. Ну, типа, если бы я сейчас ультанул в нее сразу же, то, возможно, бы и разменялся хотя бы. Ничего, если не вырывается. Не сделал ты. Что там по дракону? Что там по башне? Сейчас будет битва за дракона. Будете знать, как забирать Катарину. Ну, типа, Катарина еще изи могла вернуться. Смотри, сейчас лисин ее раз на раз. Нет? Ну ладно. Давай, дружище, поймай кого-нибудь. Держи, друг. Также на четверть хп. Че, у него есть что по киллам? Нет? У него типа ни бафов, ни бабла с него. Не может смысла в него выдавать проказ с ультой. Ну чё, уже поди время сурить. 22:8, ребят, что, о чем речь идет? Там можно влететь. Сейчас крипов подождем. Чё, ДК ушел? Забав. Ну, слушай, больно. От двоих-то больно прилетает. Так, ну то через блица можно сыграть. Блиц, если кого-то поймают, то пиздорики всем будут. Стреляй, стреляй, стреляй. Стреляй, не ссы. Так, есть ингиб. Давай вот в ингиб сыграем. Потом успеем покидать. Вот все. Заканчиваем. Изи. Это было изи. Чего, не дали, что ли? Слушай, по 29... Ой-ой-ой, у меня топ-дамаг. Оказывается, неплохо. Оценку... оценка. Вижу. Плюс 1000 ПТС. Ну, неплохо. Неплохо. По 29 ЛП дают, и это прям хорошо. Это прям отлично. Я, кстати, больше даже чем уверен, что Катарина была хуже всего по дамагу из всей их команды. График. Ну да. Жестко. Жестко загнобили Кату. Что сказать. Кату не будет хоть одна сегодня за игру. Hello, guys. Чем мы физа будем контрить? Жарко, что-то жестко. Да, сейчас, ох ты ж, у нас Ривен. Ривен, Джакс, нормальный пинг. Пинг, говорю, пинг. Так, а я, по-моему, уже показывал, нет? Ну ладно. Ну, Кату не забанили. У меня первый пик. Отлично. Попробуем пока что через жатву стартануть. Вот там типа посмотрим. А, у них Ариана. Ну, типа на скилле Ариана нам вообще траблов не составит. А, нет, он переиграл Бренда. А вот Бренд уже денджер. У него дамаг-то вообще лютый. Чего у нас не пикают, ребят? Ноуби. The last norm. Норми. Хз вообще. Ну типа да, чё нет? Ух ты ж, Ясо. А Ясо походу... Нет, Ясо на топ. Если улов саппорты. Дико сомневаюсь, что бренд пойдет в этот... АДК. А хил никто не будет брать? Блять, ну АТК через телепорт это забей. Это просто забей. Я вангую, что у нас бот сольется. Ну, такое. 10. АДК 0 ПТС. 0 ПТС. 33 левел. Я понял. Через... Происходит так, что, блядь, эта руна называется «Нажми атаку». Непонятно. Hello, guys. What's up? Они, наверное, еще не знают, что тут. Тут никто не говорит по-английски. Так, а я через что? Через жатву пошел, да? Да. Ну, в принципе, хороший выбор. Стакаться можно будет изи. Я думаю, ну хотя типа у них танков нет, скорее всего, лесник пойдет через красную форму. Ну или может типа ясик будет собираться в полутанка. Но думаю, это вряд ли. Фу, да. Погнали. Непонятно, для чего у нас только АДК телепорт взял. Вообще непонятно. Так, мидер через барьер, да, пошел? Окей, я понял. Ну, инвейди темнёким. Так что можно расслабиться. Ну, типа ревна Джакс, я думаю, мы затащим. Контроль есть, можно выигрывать. Ну, типа, скорее да, чем нет. Я вот только надеюсь, что бренд у меня на линии будет. Да, хорошо. Блять, не хватает ренджа. Что, нужен третий левел? А он с чего начал вообще? Че он вешку еще ни разу не дал? Уже было столько возможностей. Так, у меня есть второй, у него есть второй? Нет, у него пока нет второго. Угу. Больно. Бля, как он меня продамажил, а? Ой, блядь, что за пинг? Ну, типа, если я еще разок попадусь на контроль, то... Ну, хотя у него игнайта нет. Вряд ли он меня раздамажит. Блядь. Я понял. Ладно, я выжил. Это хорошо. Это хорошо. Ну, вот что значит телепорт. Вот что значит телепорт на миду. Ой, на миду говорю. На АДК. Так. Запуш будет. Так, ну контроль он дал, но кушку я тоже отдал. Надо спасать. Нет, стопера там нет. Хорошо. А вот тут можно было лесника забрать вообще изи, если бы он чуть ближе подошел. Угу, минус флеш. Минус флеш. Че, лесник зайдет ко мне, нет? Отдал играть, думал, типа, хватит мне дамага, но не хватило чуток. Чуток не хватило. Ух, как больно-то дамажит. Ух, как больно. Нет, вернулся. Ладно. Окей. Че, Джак зайдет ко мне? Или нет? Блять, у меня всего одна жатва. Ладно. Ну, бля, а с другой стороны-то что, не обойти Джакс? Бля, что за глупый? Пиздец. Ох. Пиздец, как больно. Ладно, бэкаемся. А он может еще и дабл сделать, да? Делает? Эх, не делает. Что за лол? Ну ладно. Какой это был дракон? Огненный. Хорошо, слушай, хорошо. Бля, вот он сейчас вешку бы в тебя шмальнул, и ты бы отъехал. Вообще на изи. Так, есть ульт. Есть ульт. Попробуем обойти. Не знаю, есть тут вижен или нет. Не обязательно было стелить, конечно, ну да ладно. Можно было бы и мне отдать килл. Но я думаю, он не специально по-любому. Сап, ты чё, слепой? О, пиздец, блядь. Флэш еще отдал. Ну. О, пизда, да как. Ну и там помочь-то типа некому, я понял. должны успевать, мне кажется. Джакс у нас какой-то слабенький. Катарина хорошая. Попробуем залететь, конечно, но я думаю, что я там стан поймаю от этого. От мидера. Ну чё, 3 секунды до ульты. Сейчас они чуть ближе подойдут. Ой-ой-ой. Пиздец какой-то, просто пиздец. Да. Прожимаю игнайт на одного, он летит в другого. Такое себе. Блять, слоупок АДК. Ебать, АДК 24 крипа. Охуенно, чё? Я понял, надо, короче, фармить. На боте там киллов не светит. Фармить и помогать Ривен. Джакс тут не играет. Чуть не забрали, да, но если там типа мидер ультанул, мы бы отъехали все. Че, попробуем сыграть? Ладно, я на мид пошел. Ой, блядь, Джакс. Так криво играет, это пиздец. Это просто пиздец. Можно попробовать зайти. Одного я должен забирать по-любому. Блять, чудовище нафидило. 8 киллов у пацана. 8, блять. Лагинг, хуягинг у него. Днище конченое пошло в ранкеду. Ебать, он раздамажил. Практически фулку нанес сейчас. Так, вижу Ясика, вижу Джинкса. Рион куда-то не туда вообще улетела. Да ёб вашу мать, ну где вы, сука, Вот дамага вообще дико не хватает. Если бы хоть один из них дамажил, кроме Ривен, можно было распрыгиваться, а так вообще не вариант. Типа АДК настолько расфижен, что типа я врываюсь, у меня только-только там появляется дамаг, и меня просто АДК выщелкивает. Это печаль. Хотя типа у Ривен должен быть дамаг. Ривен, поможешь? Куда ты, блядь, идешь, осел? Иди нахер. Так, минус ульт. Блять, АДК сейчас просто отдастся. Вот клоуна. Так, ну Ривен ворвалась. Ладно, хоть одного я забрал. Сука, ебучая АДК. Но это еще выиграть можно. У Ривен дамаг есть. Ривен энгейдж. Ривен ВП. Если бы этот даун на АДК бы еще просто на базе бы стоял и не фидел. Пиздец, блядь. Хуй ты мне пикаешь? Да, эта скотина просто ходит и фидит. как бы плюс в том, что сейчас же типа новая система голды, по-моему, наград за убийство, и за АДК уже вообще ничего не дают, я уверен. Блять, ну ладно, я понял. Не догорел лесник. Лесник у нас еще мертвый. Вот был бы лесник хотя бы нормальный. У них типа, ну по сути тоже никто не играет. У них жестко нафиженные АДК, а остальные типа нихуя не играют. Ну типа мы бы втроем их переехали. Я Риван и Лес, если бы у него руки были. Но он нулевый. Ну это на шор. Уже поздно. Риванча, а нет, не отдала ульту. Я уже думал, типа, ой-ой, пизда сейчас. Нет, еще не пизда. Еще живут, выжили, ебать, жестко. Жестко. Ну, типа, выжить-то выжили, но... Хотя вот тут можно... Ну где, блядь, крипы? Ясно. Чё, типа, давить не пошли, непонятно. Лесник уже пришел. Там все по еботу уже вернулось, я понял. Че, они будут пытаться додавливать? Ну-ка, типа, что бы им не додавливать? Не хватило. Ну чё, АДК репорт 9х. Ривен лайкос. Так, что у нас? Перерывчик, перекурчик. Так, я тут. Камбэк. Погнали, что делать? Так, а что, ревна не добавилась в френды, да? Ну ладно, печалька, печалька, обидка. А что у нас? 2-1, по-моему. По-моему, 2-1. Была, конечно, теория насчет Кейтлин, что она сейчас ходила и фидела, что, ну, типа, это мог быть бот, по идее. Но смысл, типа, бота запускать, когда ты уже 30-й левел? Типа, 30-й левел, да. Ну, до 30-го ты там просто качаешься, чтобы пойти в ранкеды. И похер, чего у тебя там будет по статьям. Но после 30-го-то смысл может быть просто нуб, да? Так, в субботу, вчера же был этот файт. Эх, я пропустил, ну ладно, чё.
He's going to get caught out. This will be a 1-for-1 trade, and the kill is secured by the Captain Perks.
Ends up being a 1-for-1 overall, but now Origin can look to gain priority on the mid lane. If they can secure this tower, it's definitely worth it, but I don't think the minion wave is in the right place. And G2 actually equalize, so great teleport there from Caps to just buy time for the rest of his team to come in for the collapse.
Also fancy footwork from Wonder to buy enough time that Caps could even get the TP down there. You can see the clear direction from Origin, though, the fact that they were trying to use the Rise ultimate to just grab one and get the hell out of dodge.
So we can see again here how Nukeduck weaves his way into the fog of darkness, in from behind. Wonder, he feels like something is amiss, he's not entirely sure what, and he does what he can to just buy time for the teleport to come through. And to his credit, as you said, Frost, he buys a lot of time, because you can see on the minimap the Olaf and the Tarek coming through, but just before Alfari can get away, he gets rooted up by Caps and locked down for the rest of his team to clean up.
A game of inches in the execution to get Alfari out of there, and that is the difference between G2 and Origin the last time they faced.
Well, this is such a fantastic start to the series. We're about even on gold, 2 towers to 2, 6 kills to 8. Origin have the smallest of advantages across most of the metrics, but the 2 dragons will be pivotal. The next one will be Infernal. OG have had slightly better decision-making around this objective.
Now, one of the big complaints I saw from the fans yesterday was why didn't Fnatic buy any Grievous Wounds? Well, fans will be happy to see Morello Nomicon completed 2nd for Rise in the mid lane. Those Grievous Wounds will be applied, that healing will be reduced from the side of G2. Very valuable as these team fights start to group up and occur, as the Baron is now on the board.
All right, mid lane pressures. Origin are going to be in some trouble, but here comes Alfari from the backside. The ultimate from Irelia doesn't do a lot. The stun will not find a target. Paranoia has been used, pop, timeout, and no target is dove onto. Crucial to note, both Perks and Mickey held onto theirs.
Yeah, and that's the key thing about G2. They are so good at not just blowing all of their ultimates, all of their cooldowns into a team fight. As soon as the defensive Paranoia came down so that Irelia couldn't leap forward, continue to find targets, didn't know what she was going into, they said, okay, don't waste anything else, hold on to the Sona and Tarek ultimate, and that means that G2 can't just, Origin can't just turn it back and look for aggressive play.
It felt like a game of chicken. Both teams were saying, burn your ults, and neither one of them ended up doing it outside of OG using those defensive ones. And you're in this situation where neither team can make a move, but G2, they walk away as the happy team. They keep their mid lane tower alive. They can still group up, and they're in a position now to look for a re-engage. Look,
2 item spikes starting to come in across the board. GA picked up there for Cold. Rageblade picked up for Patrick as well. Rageblade being worked towards for Perks. We've got Ludens and the Proto Belt for Caps. What I'm trying to say is the power continues to escalate. We are still very, very close as far as the game is concerned. And Baron and fighting around these objectives, or these big team fights rather, are going to be what makes and breaks the game for either squad.
And also the summoner spells of the teleports. The fact that Caps and Wonder both have the TP available to match Alfari and Nukeduck in these side lanes, it's about who is going to abuse those cooldowns. So Caps used it last time to try to secure the return kill. There's a window here that Origin can try to play around the fact that Caps needs to be grouped up, that Origin are going to be stuck in a 1-4 or a 5v5.
It's interesting that you bring that up as well, because one of the fascinating things that I love about G2 is the way in which they're so efficient with their resources as well. Because you talk about how G2, Origin rather, might be forced into grouping up in this situation where they want to avoid. And that's actually happened a lot for Alfari. He's been constantly grouping up with his team, and he's actually had a pretty big deficit. He's a whole level down behind Wonder, whereas G2, Caps is the same level, or now just a level behind Nukeduck, but he's doing extremely well in terms of farms. Same for Wonder. The bot lane is actually doing incredibly well in terms of the gold as well. And it feels like G2, they just get all their gold, or as much gold as possible, onto all their members, so they constantly stay relevant, even though they're dying all the time.
Wow, there's the crescendo, insta-cleanse and flash. Patrick escapes with his life for now. Matthew tries to defensively move away. He got that taunt off just to slow down Caps in his tracks. Now Alfari may need to use the ult defensively, and he does. Gets across the wall. Origin escape with their life, but G2, they set up the play. They get the spells, and now they're going to get the tower.
Great pick on the side of G2. No, it doesn't result in a kill, but it results in an objective, and Wonder is just free farming on the bot side. This is going to force Nukeduck to come and group because G2, they're continuing the push.
And it's not just the immediate objectives that G2 were able to secure, it's also now the next team fight. The fact that Patrick had to expend so much once he was caught out going around a corner, that's an Infernal that spawns in 1 minute. That's a Baron that both teams have been posturing and dancing around, and now the AD carry won't have the security of having Flash available.
And that's a problem, especially when you look at Olaf, Irelia, Lissandra. Good luck with that one. Before you add, on top of that, the Cosmic Radiance, and Origin now have lost control of the gold lead, albeit it's tiny, of course, right? It's still going to be a few very big team fights. Perks can use that Song of Celerity to escape. His crescendo comes available right now, but I'm impressed by Origin. They got smashed last weekend. They come back, they win yesterday. This is a team that has such a limited amount of finals experience, but a super huge number of LEC games combined.
I mean, the thorn in Origin side right now is the fact that G2 have been able to keep their mid lane tower alive till 26, 27 minutes in this game. As soon as they can knock that down, it's going to give them so much more access. And when you have an early Mountain Dragon, they needed to have control over the Baron to threaten that much earlier, or at least use it as a pressure point to orchestrate some picks. But because G2 have held the line, they're actually stalling out Origin long enough that the Sona and Tarek are now online. Their 5v5 is very scary.
I also think that the way in which Origin set up the 1-3-1 hasn't been optimal either. Like, the fact that they made a couple of small mistakes in the early game, given room for G2 to actually find a couple of picks, has made it harder. And every time G2 make a play on the side lane, it actually ends up going even across both sides. So I feel like that right now they're not level.
Oh, there's the flash crescendo. A flashless Patrick gets chunked down. That was very well played by G2. Remember, Origin were trying to push this top lane. Now all of a sudden, Nukeduck has to try to escape with his life. He's got flash and TP available, as well as that realm warp. I don't quite know if anyone's chasing him just yet. Perks not going to use that E to close the gap. Instead, G2 are starting Baron.
Looks like Nukeduck does have his teleport available, and Cold is alive. Has the Paranoia and Flash available. Everything to try and steal this one away.
Yeah, and the Realm Warp was just used from Nukeduck. He's trying to clear out the mid lane and then can walk over. So they say this is going to take a long time for them to do.
And it is getting very, very low. Nukeduck is sticking on the tower. He hasn't peeled away yet. That's a dash over the wall from Wonder. Wonder jumps onto Alfari. Cold is sitting behind the pit. Alfari runs for his life. That's the Onslaught of Shadows used. I'm waiting to see if Cold goes in. Mithy's in trouble. Mithy's dead. He's killed by Wonder. The Baron's inside the pit. Cold, can he steal it? No, he cannot. G2 get Baron. Cold goes down. Nukeduck continues to push in the mid lane, but it's G2 Esports in control.
And we talked about the survivability that G2 have with this composition. Wonder was able to go over 1v3. Caps has now teleported in to try and cut Nukeduck off.
All right, let's see what happens here. Nukeduck turns that around. Bramble back in the use for some defense as Wonder will join the fray. Nukeduck is going to be in a lot of trouble. It is just a matter of time before he gets run down. G2 take control.
And it's the confidence of G2 to make these types of plays. You know, we always talk about the perfect Baron setup. You've got to have the deep vision. You need to clear out the blast cone. You never want to go for the 50-50 smite. But G2 are so confident that they can execute on this. The fact that they send Wonder over the wall, trying to find Cold, not realize he's on the top, to force away anyone else to get involved. And at this point, Origin are like, okay, high pressure situation. Can we make the right call? Can we make the right bet? And unfortunately, they bet wrong. Cold gets into the pit, but they cannot get the smite steal.
Everything comes together for G2. Let's not forget, this all started because they found that initial pick onto Patrick in the mid lane. they burnt both summoners. They then find the same pick onto him. They have not been using the team fight power of Saractona. They've been using the pick power of their composition to turn this into a Baron, and now they're setting up a siege onto Origin's base.
Both times Patrick was caught out by Perks, the captain of G2, the role-swapped AD carry that's playing Sona, still counts. He manages to find the crescendos. The inhibitor is secured in the mid lane, and Wonder is pushing down bot. He's got teleport available to him, and Origin are chasing some sort of team fight. G2 decides to turn this one around. Cosmic Radiance was used though.
It's just the fact that you can't give G2 any opening. That was a missing flash on an ADC, and it resulted in a mid-inhib being torn apart.
Beautiful stuff right now from G2, and now they're staying grouped. They don't need to split apart. They're working around Wonder. Level 17 on the Aurelia, and Caps is looking for the flank.
All right, Patrick has got his flash and his cleanse available. Here comes Alfari. That's at least one level of engage. Cosmic Radiance, remember, still on cooldown, but Alfari so low. 1-2 quick kills for G2. The re-engage from Wonder. He is just destroying Origin, and G2 ace Origin.
Beautiful fight from the side of G2. 5-0. Game 1 is going to be locked down from the side of G2.
And I don't know what you're supposed to do. I love the fact that the Sonateric was paired with such high damage like Wonder's Aurelia and Genkos' Olaf. They took over this game.
This game came down to one Baron call, but it was the wrong one for Origin. G2 go up 1-0 in the finals. Look at Perks and Caps. Caps might be the first European player to win a title on 2 different teams. Perks will reach 5 titles if he wins. Jankos will get 1. G2 Esports 1-0 up, and that is a very happy, except Jankos squad.
He smiled in the end, got there.
And I guess what I'm looking at right now is what quality bar do I think Origin is bringing to this game? Because I felt like that in game 1, Nukeduck was having a very solid performance. He looked great. But we didn't see the successful punishments towards the bot side of the map. We saw Alfari falling incredibly behind against Wonder, honestly being outclassed in this game. And I feel like that if Origin fail to execute upon their win conditions again, it's going to look exactly like we saw last week from the side of G2, where they just continue to dominate their opposition.
And I like the point that you brought up in-game, that is this idea of the lane assignments from Origin, that while they had the ability to play to the side lanes, that they couldn't quite figure out what the right tempo and the pace for it was. And anytime they're trying to make up their mind, trying to decide where are they going to attack, what wave are they going to prioritize, G2 were already on the ball, looking for picks, punishing flashes, setting up barons, denying wards. This is a team that you can't give any time to breathe, because it feels like they think and they react so much faster.
I mean, if you step back and you look at that sequence of plays that led to Baron, that was the game-defining moment. Of course, it was because Patrick got caught by a flash crescendo, and whatnot. But how do you possibly start to evaluate those decision-making when you come into the next game?
Well, I think the biggest thing for me, for Origin, is they now lock in blue side moving into game 2. Last week, they were red side 3 games back-to-back, and I think that having the priority in the draft, being able to draft the Sonateric yourself, or force G2 to take it away, just gives you a little bit more options, a little bit more freedom in the draft. And I think that if they can get a little bit more standard game against G2, then maybe we can see a little bit more from them.
I also want more agency from Cold. I want him to have an impact in the early game. It doesn't have to translate to just, ganking repeatedly on the lanes, but the ability to skirmish and try for the Scuttle Crabs. Vision is so important for Origin, securing their lanes, allowing them to move freely in between them. Mithy is a hyper-heavy roaming support. Nukeduck loves to roam as well and play to the side lanes, but if Cold is relegated to his jungle, if they're not able to clear out those runways, then Origin seem to fall apart or slow down.
Well, we'll find out what they decide to do in a moment. For now, G2 started the final with the win. To break down how they did it, here's our analysts.
Thank you very much, Quickshot. Blink and you miss it. The first Nexus goes down for G2 Esports. And before we get into any replays we may have, at the end of that, you guys both just said G2 is so insane at this game. What is it about this game that makes you say that?
I think there was a lot of it, and ultimately what it came down to was control. The control to slow down the game once you saw a Nukeduck with 4 kills, and then ultimately that Baron where they just kept it at 2,000 HP, knowing exactly exactly when they could burst that one down without risking the 50-50.
I feel like we always saw this G2 that kind of rolled over the enemy with individual outplays, with team compositions that really didn't make sense together. They had a Jace up top lane and everyone kind of did their own thing. This is the G2 we knew in the regular split. But now we have a refined G2 that actually plays around the strategy and is so sharp to play to their win condition. We saw it throughout. They had a rough fight. Ryze got the head. They knew they didn't have to play around the split push. Right the moment when they saw Varus no cleanse, we know that we need to engage on him and take the Nashor, and they executed perfectly.
Yeah, they did. So let's take a look at how it happened in the order of the game. Starting with, as you said, they got in a tricky position against Origen here when it looks favorable for them, but it turns around for Origen.
Yeah, I mean, the start of the fight looks really good here with the flank initially from Caps, but then watch Wunder in this fight. The dive on in looks like he's going to be able to mop up and win this one out for G2, but Nukeduck went untouched and he was able to turn it around.
I feel like the sidestep on the E that's going to save Wunder very, very soon right here is coming now, the sidestep, boom!
That's
very
clean, baby.
Smooth. That is the nuke that we know and love. He chases, he has a flash if he wants to pick up more kills, but it's fantastic that OG can go head-to-head in these team fights against G2.
Yeah, I absolutely love it as well, but there is, of course, immediately then for me a bit of a reason for concern, right? Because coming into the series, you say Nukeduck is the guy that can stand up to Caps. Fair. Here he gets 4 kills. If anything, he should be in a great position. But what happens? Why can't they hold on to that advantage on Nukeduck?
Well, they had the advantage the whole time, and that's what was difficult for me, because they didn't really convert it into much more. They had this super strong 1-3-1 that they were going to try to build upon, but immediately after that fight, G2 actually split the map. They went top for Herald, where they gave Origen the Mountain Drake after that, and it actually slowed down the game a lot. Cold wasn't able to find as many plays looking for Nocturne ults around his side laners as I would have liked to see.
I feel like these compositions is kind of the opposite of what they played in the first series, where OG was the composition they wanted to group and team fight and set up around the Nashor. I felt like what G2 did better, they created opportunities for themselves. They knew that they needed to give up on side, they needed to group up, find the picks, and then just force the Nashor as soon as possible to use the composition.
Something we talked about last week is the fact that they create a diversion and then they hit on the side of the map that you're not paying attention. I think this, again, is one of those examples in which their decision-making is very, very clean. They see Patrick, they kill Patrick, and then they go for Baron.
And then we see the control, how they pushed out Ryze earlier. Wunder jumps over the wall. They keep the Baron at a very, very, this limit here at 2K, and they remain so healthy because of the Taric and the Sona.
Also, they keep it almost exactly at that health until it's time, and it looks maybe close for Cold, but you guys said no. They primed it perfectly for Olaf.
Yeah, I think it's 11:59 at the end where he combos the E, the true damage on the Olaf with his smite as well to burst that one down and make it so that even Cold, though Cold got the timing right to flash into the pit, it was not enough to end up stealing it and trying to stall out the game for OG.
Beautiful play from G2. Also, you know, interesting in the context of the development of a best-of-5 that they come out with a composition which is a bit different from what we have come to expect of them. Of course, also with the Sona, Taric rather, bottom lane, and kind of a different style. And I think that that gets in the mind of your competitor, right? The fact that you show this different thing that they couldn't have really prepared for. Sona Taric, I mean, they should have seen coming.
They've got the Blitzcrank.
But not versus G2.
But that's the thing. They have the Blitzcrank, but they couldn't pick it because they first rotationed on red side as Origen. They went for the Galio, which you know is going to be a support. That's when G2 lock in the Sona Taric. If Origen hadn't gone for a support, I don't think we see that duo.
So they put themselves in that position?
I think they did. I mean, it was almost like G2 baited them into picking that. They left it open.
I feel like at the same time, though, I think the Varus is a great pick into it because you have the CC and you also have the healing reduction on the E. I think the bigger issue when you look at the draft, I think, is the Nocturne pick, because we needed something to snowball the Hecarim early because everything's going to come down to the split push. Aurelia could hold on strong and didn't really lose any towers, and I think that was the bigger issue when you play a 1-3-1 composition.
Also, we heard it already from Frostkern as well. We need to see a little bit more from Cold. Do you guys agree with that sentiment?
I agree. I think it's the champion, really, because Nocturne limits it. We saw there was a 2v2 top lane early on where he couldn't do much. They lost because it's Olaf versus Nocturne. You're not going to win that. All of the early game playmaking actually came from Alphari and Nukeduck roaming to each other's lanes. It was not Cold. So I want to see Cold on something like the Rek'Sai or the Jarvan. Elise, why not? I need early game playmaking, especially if there's a Sona Taric in the game again.
Yeah, Origen, they have selected blue side for the next game, so we finally see a change up there. What do you think the planning is going into game 2 for them?
I think they can look to ban maybe the Sona in the first rotation if they don't want to risk giving it up, because honestly, I mean, It's hard because I'm really struggling
it's hard
with
for
it.
them too, yeah.
No, yeah, because the question is, do you risk giving it over again? Is the Blitzcrank good enough? It was against Fnatic. I'm not so sure against G2. I need them, again, to have strong jungle pressure, and if they're going to leave it up, I want to see the Blitz.
I like the fact that they picked blue because they get to pick the stronger jungler. I am pretty sure we're going to see either a first pick Jarvan, first pick Rek'Sai. That is where Trashy has... Jonas has shown his comfort, and that is where he's been a shining light in the previous games.
Yeah, definitely so. So now when we look at everything, yesterday and today, first game combined, of course, quite a surprise for many. OG played fantastically versus Fnatic. Now they go one game down versus G2, which is this mountain to beat, this incredible competitor they are up against. What is the gut feeling as to how this series is going to evolve?
My gut feeling is that had Origin been able to close out this game, we were going to see 5 today. Because G2 were able to shut it down and not let it happen, I'm actually really nervous for Origin. I don't know if they're going to be able to come back after a loss that I think should have been a win for them.
Should we not give them a bit more credit with the development we've seen?
I just feel like we've seen a development in G2 as well.
Yeah.
I feel like they've actually play in a strategic way that you can relate to. They're always on point with what they need to do, whether it's 1-3-1, whether it's a team fight composition. I feel like they're very precise in their gameplay, and this is what was lacking throughout the regular split.
Coming from back from the break, we're also going to hear from Expeke, but we are going to take a quick break. G2, they are on their way towards their very first LEC title with that win. We'll see if Origin can bounce back in Game 2.
Now the undertow's available. Duet will not find a stun. That's at least a devastating charge. Continue to push forward. Wonder forced to dash to safety. The ignites. Oh, the burn is not going to be enough just yet. Patrick jumps onto Perks. Perks is low on mana. That Song of Celerity will not get you away. Nuke Duck prisons the rune of Mickey.
Hook takes the kill. I don't. Okay, nice. Just got 10 minutes. That's really crazy.
I feel like that right now they're on level.
Oh, there's the flash crescendo. A flashless Patrick. Here comes Alfari. That's at least one level of engage. Cosmic Radiance, remember, still on cooldown, but Alfari so low. 1-2 quick kills for G2. The re-engage from Wonder. He is just destroying Origin. This game came down to one Baron call, but it was the wrong one for Origin. G2 go up 1-0 in the finals.
A third buff power play with Shell V-Power.
Any barriers will crumble under all of my force will fall. Let's make them fall. And when we finally meet the king, there will be no cross or hell. We shall end it all.
And welcome back everyone to the Ahoy Arena for the LEC Spring Split Final. I am here with XPK. How are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling pretty... Yeah.
I know. Yeah, give it up.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Game one didn't exactly go your way, but what are your thoughts on the series so far?
I'm happy with how we played, but of course the game didn't go out the way we wanted. They had a composition that I feel forced us that we couldn't stall the game because the Sonatari was getting too strong and we couldn't team fight. So even though I feel like we were playing really good, we had a bit of a handicap in the team fight. So.
Yeah, still many games to bounce back, and we'll see your players in a few minutes. But when you think about this final, there's so much history, even between you and another Spanish owner. But I want to know, what does it mean to you to play this final today?
I mean, for me, this final is really special. Also, for the fact that I haven't been in a final with my team for like 2 or 3 years. I don't even remember.
2016.
2016, so you remember better. So it feels great to have made it so far already. Of course, I see the players, I see how motivated they are, and no one even thought that we could make it this far already. And I really believe that we can win, and the players believe it as well, and I'm just happy to be already here on a final.
I want to know, you saw your players during the break. How are they feeling right now? Excited? Still motivated?
Yeah, as soon as the game was over, they were still talking about what went wrong, what they're going to do better, next team comp. So they were not down at all. They kept talking as much, and that's great to see.
That's amazing to hear. I'll give it out to the casters in a few minutes, but you're a legend in EU. So is there any words you want to say to this whole crowd who came to see your team play today?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, pretty much, I know a lot of guys here support Fnatic, support G2, support Origin, support many teams. But for me, that I haven't been in an event like this for so long, it just feels great to see you guys again, cheering, taking pictures with us. So thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much, Becky, and good luck to your boys for Game 2. Now back to the casters for Game 2 of the Grand Final.
Thank you very much, Law and Peke. Welcome back to the stage. We're about to jump into Game 2 picks and bans. Of course, because Origin lost the game, they have side selection, they chose blue sides.
Great to hear from XPeke, though. A bit of a legend here in Europe. If you haven't heard of him,
Bit of a legend?
He used to be quite good at League of Legends. But it's once again great to hear from him, the fact that he is back in the scene. I know many fans
which role was he good at, though? Because, you know, fans who've watched a while...
I heard that he was a multi-role talent, quick shot.
Not quite as successful as Perks, one might believe.
Perhaps, perhaps. Well, perhaps XPeke's team can redeem that for him. They have already made it to the final. Yes, they did falter in Game 1, but this is a team that often bounces back. And they actually have blue side. This is what we talked about last time round. And I think that it is really important for them because now they get to dictate the draft. They're the ones that get priority. G2 often have to now force certain bans, things like the Sona perhaps, things like the Rek'Sai as well. But honestly, I'd love to see Cold get his hands on something like a Rek'Sai so we can go back to see the origin of the end of the regular season where they were actually very active in the early game. And when this team gets a lead, they're actually very effective at snowballing it into a victory.
It's also going to completely change the roadmap that G2 have put against Origin. And kind of this extended series of we're now looking at 2 best-of-5s between Origin and G2. Origin were on red side every single time, picking it themselves, or when Origin also picked blue. So this is actually a completely different look than anything G2 have shown before on the competitive stage across Origin.
Yeah, it's really difficult for a team like Origin, who are exceptionally good when they know what to prepare for. You know, when they can see how their opponents play and they can draft an answer. They saw how Wonder played on Irelia, and the answer was simple: get the hell off Irelia.
The bans are so very different from the side of Origin this time around. Taking the Varus and Irelia off the board. The Irelia makes sense, but the Varus Frost, definitely a surprise.
I think it's actually about the Sonateric. So again, one of the things that Varus can do is he can apply grievous wounds, so you don't necessarily have to itemize the Executioner's Calling to interact with the healing debuff across from Sonateric. So the fact that they banned the Varus, I don't think that's them saying like, Patrick, no, you can no longer play this champion, but it opens up the potential that if they feel that Varus is the counter to Sonateric, that they can then themselves run it.
But I'm so happy to now see the Rek'Sai in the hands of Cold. Such a big, important pick for him, and I think it's going to be very valuable to the early game of Origin.
And you know how much I love my stats. Cold is undefeated on Rek'Sai. He is 4-0 with a KDA of 13, 3, and 18. G2 Esports with a very quick lock-in of Zyra Khan.
And that's a lot of hard engage and a lot of 2v2 dominance down that bot lane. So now it's crunch time. Does Mithy look towards his Tahm Kench? A lot of the times when he does face a lot of hard engage, he will grab this champion and be confident on it? Or are they saying, yes, the Varus is gone, we know exactly what we're doing, we're going to run Sonateric and you will not be able to break us?
Oof, let's see if Origin can do to G2 what they did to Fnatic yesterday. But a lot of comfort picks going in the hands of G2 now. The Rise, the thing that can once again be flexed into multiple roles on this team. Often a debate who actually is the best Rise on this team. But usually you always look at that man in the top lane, Wonder. He's had so many fantastic performances on the Rise. He's already had a great game 1 today. G2, I feel, with these comfort picks, already looking very scary.
And Wonder really does feel like kind of that intangible secret ingredient to G2, because again, you expect the flex picks to go so many different directions, but it's the fact that Wonder can also play these flex picks to such a high level, almost as well as Caps, if not better on certain matchups. And when you're doing that with a guy like Caps, again, that's why G2 are so terrifying, where they are such a Goliath.
Yeah, and of course, you know, to talk about the impact that Rise has for G2 Esports, just a side note, Caps undefeated 2-0, Wonder 0-1, Vedius. Not reading into it, we jump into phase 2 bans. It is a Jarvan taken away by G2 Esports, the LeBlanc removed by Origin, followed by a Corki.
Perhaps maybe looking for a Zoe there?
Ooh, I know the Corki ban is telling me something, and I'm like, if they're looking to ban away the Corki, this already suggests to me that they want to put Rise up towards the top lane, or they want to just eliminate some of the safe options that Origin could go for to try and force them into something a little bit more aggressive.
So kind of your big blind picks that you have available for Nukeduck in that mid lane are going to be things like the Zoe, like the Lissandra, but Rise and even the LeBlanc could have been a good matchup there.
Oh, blind pick right now for the side of G2.
And I feel like that's a double down. Again, they're eliminating all of these safe blind picks. They're trying to herd Nukeduck on exactly what they want to face.
The Lissandra is something that they could look to put him on. I think that in terms of this composition, it works very nicely. We are seeing a bit of a hover right now, but audience, you got to be careful with the hovers until they're locked in. Oh, it gets locked in. We got a Yasuo in the final.
Okay, but what does this mean when we look at the composition?
Again, it felt like the mind games, like they were trying to force him into Lissandra. We know that they really like that Rise matchup into it, and it would have given Caps the go-ahead for the Rise, but by going for the Yasuo and the Kinnan, it now says...
This is a pike! We got a pike! Let's go! This could be a pike jungle. This could be a pike mid. Oh, they hovered it last game, and I really wanted to talk about it, but because they didn't lock in, we have to move away from it. But we have the pike in this. Wait, that's a smite on Perks. I think they might be doing a funnel, ladies and gentlemen.
What? How is that going to work with this composition?
I mean, it's triple support plus an ADC.
Oh my word, G2. They are pulling out all the stops in game 2. They are going crazy with the strats.
G2 Esports were dethroned last year by Fnatic, and they picked up Caps coming into 2019. It was a reign of dominance for G2 that started here in the Ahoy Arena in Rotterdam. And G2 are going Morgana, Pike, and a funnel comp. Okay, now, let's step back. It's been a long time since we have seen funnel comp.
No, here's the thing. Everyone, when Perks first made his rotation over to the ADC, everyone's like, funnel. That's not the same thing as actually being a true marksman. He can't just get away with this. There were so many doubters there. But this team is so practiced at a funnel composition, not just from Perks now on the Xayah, but think of how many times Jankos had to play secondary support.
I'll have you know that Jankos is the best Braum in Europe,
Best Braum.
if you recall correctly, when he was playing in that role. And of course, it's coming up into this duo of Sona Tariq that needs time to scale and build up.
Okay, so it's going to take us some time. This is going to be a learning opportunity for us all, Quick Shot, because getting to see how this comp will work is very new, very novel. Clearly, Perks and Wonder will be the primary carries. Jankos returns to support duty here in the final. But you know what? He said, I want a title badly. I will not jungle. I don't need to.
Well, look at it this way. If anybody wants to see exactly what Jankos does this game, go check out twitch.tv/RiotGames2. He won the POV votes. He is playing Teleport Flash Morgana. Caps is playing Pyke. Your spring split MVP is playing Pyke, and Perks is running the Smite on that Xayah.
So quick fun story for you. The moment Pyke was released, Caps was already playing at mid lane. It was one of the first things he did with the champion, and actually he inspired a lot of solo queue players to pick up Pyke in a solo lane, and it's actually been very prevalent, but it's never really made its way into solo queue. Now what's interesting here is Caps is not playing a solo queue style Pyke. He has gone for the Targons. He is clearly going for, I'm going to assist a champion, and right now he's grouping up with Jankos. So where exactly is this duo going to look?
I kind of feel like it's looking at the Morgana Pyke. Now, we have seen more Pyke played globally in other regions down there, and it works exactly how you would expect. Morgana is there for a lot of the lane control, the lockdown, and then Pyke is there to pick up the coins and look for the kill pressure there.
And roams as well.
Exactly.
The cool thing about Morgana, as you already highlighted, is like she's very safe in lane, especially when she gets 3 points in her Tormented Soil. She just clears those caster minions, and she's very safe. So what you'll often see is just wave clear in the bot, and then the Pyke will look to roam around the map with Mickey and Perks.
But ultimately, the long-term goal of the funnel is just to get Xayah to a point where she has an experience advantage and a gold advantage, because this champion who is so safe and can do so much damage scales so well, and then you stack all of these supports on top of her, you then just kind of group up around her like a giant cannon and say, come fight us, we're stronger.
Now you can see, notice how Perks owned the red buff and then immediately came to the mid lane. So still able to get that farm, not overcompensating by taking too much in the jungle, just now hits level 3.
Okay, so explain to me a little bit more about how the funnel comp works. We have not seen it in a long time, and it has some nuances to it. So, Frost, maybe break down some of the basics of what you think G2 are trying to do with this style.
I mean, it's all about how you're going to abuse the mid lane wave. Again, it's kind of finding these windows that as you shove the wave in, since you have an abundance of wave clear on Rakan and Xayah when they are used as a duo, and then in that space that you have, you quickly walk into the jungle and you start to absorb camps. And what's cool here is it's kind of a double-edged sword. The fact that they gave Cold the Rek'Sai, but he doesn't get to just power bomb.
All right, there's an early flash from Perks already, but look at the turnaround damage. Mickey's going low, defensive flash. Mickey survives. First blood picked up by Perks.
And Origin, they tried to go for the early game play. They hard commit onto executing Mickey, and they fail. So Perks picks himself up first blood, and this funnel just got even stronger.
But you can't blame Cold looking for that play. You know exactly what he wants to do. If he finds that kill, it's a completely different game, because if they're going to force the wave forward, it does open them up for the chance to be abused like that, but expertly played from Perks and Mickey.
So let's have a look here. There's no vision on Cold right now. He goes in over the wall, and he gets a flash knockup. So immediately this looks good, but the quick follow-up flash from Perks into a knockup from Mickey is what buys enough time for Perks to obviously reposition and then get all this free damage down onto Cold.
And of course that replay brought to you by Anywhere. Mickey stepping up once again, making sure that his presence is known. Remember, he returns to the stage after the injury that had him benched in Week 9, once G2 had secured and guaranteed that first place. All eyes going to be on how he and Perks will be duoing up. G2 Esports 400 gold up, and we get our first glimpse there of Alfari versus Wonder.
And it's exactly what you want. Again, it's about creating space for the Xayah. She walks into the jungle, she eats up the farm, and you're just getting these small incremental advantages onto Xayah before you feel confident to start picking her up and walking around. Now that he also has the first blood, it speeds that up.
Level 5 now on Perks. Doing extremely well in terms of the funnel. And look, Mickey, he's looking for a roam. Already made his way up towards the top side. Gets a bit of vision down, because there is the potential gank up there as well. And this just goes to show G2 compensating for all possible options that Origin have, and that all revolves around Cold. So as long as they can keep track of him, see what he is up to, the number of comeback opportunities are heavily mitigated.
Oh, this is so scary. Caps on Pyke, Mickey on Rakan. The amount of CC combined before you add the Rune Rhyme Prison is already disgusting. This should just be an easy setup. There's the dash, the knockup, the ghost water dive. And you wonder where Alfari's gone back to Fountain.
It wasn't even fair. He never stood a chance. What I think is so incredible about this, though, isn't just the execution of the dive, but look at the rest of the map. There's nothing for Origin to punish. They saw that G2 expended so many resources topside, but there's not like a lane that they can gank. No one was available.
Also, I want to talk about a lane we haven't even looked at all. Jankos has just been farming with his Tormented Shadow. We did have a little bit of help from Caps earlier, but just because there's been action elsewhere, we haven't had a chance to look at this. I mean, Jankos going to be pretty content in a fairly low-pressure lane.
Yeah, Jankos is more than happy to farm away. We talked about how Morgana very safe in lane, and you can't... I mean, you can dive her, but typically she just wants to sit back and farm, and she's also fine just abandoning resources, because the game isn't about the Morgana. The game isn't about Jankos. It's all about Perks and ensuring that he gets as much gold as possible.
It's also where you're funneling kind of the EXP advantages. It's not just Perks now that has the EXP advantage, but because Jankos is being left alone by himself, he's also getting a level advantage over Patrick and Mithy. So it's crazy. Caps, oh man, this is crazy. Caps and Mickey are putting themselves at a disadvantage, but the key champions that are getting stronger can open up so many plays with their ultimates, with their utility, with their power.
I don't know if there is a more creative team playing at this level of League of Legends anywhere else in the world. And G2, they pull off another surprise.
Well, Griffin did try in their final, but it didn't work out. Now we see a very quick kill onto Mickey. And remember, something that Frost was just talking a lot about was all the resources are invested into Perks and Jankos and Wonder. Caps and Mickey, very low level, very squishy. So while they're roaming, if they get caught, very quick to die.
Oh, Caps doesn't manage to connect with the Bone Skewer. Very good flash from Patrick. The Soul Shackles will not be able to do any damage, though. So that was a level 6 Morg, unable to find the kill.
And that's so important that Origin were able to survive that, because again, that was kind of the big window, the big advantage that G2 had tried to make by exiting Caps and Mickey out of this lane and giving Jankos that advantage.
Honestly, I'm very surprised they tried that all in. Caps wasn't level 6, didn't have the execute on his ultimate, and a Morgana at level 6 with only double Dark Seal, not really that much damage. Still, they do get the double flashes out from the Origin bot lane. It could be a lane that they look to dive later with the Rakan and the Xayah. But the big problem I'm seeing right now for G2 is that this Rakan is going to take a long time to get to that level 6 mark. That primary engage tool that G2 are going to be relying on will take a long time to get there. So in the meantime, Origin, they're still farming up. And if you look at the levels across the board, they're all hitting those level 6 points.
Okay, so Sona Taric, we know this does very well in the team fights. I like the combinations of Kennen, Yasuo, or Rek'Sai. And I also know that Funnel does very well at getting into the mid to later stages of the game. So as we start projecting forward for the next 10 or 15 minutes, does either of these teams have a ticking timer to make those first plays?
I mean, for me, it's about the side lane. Again, if everything's going to be kind of centered around this Xayah, we really need to pay attention if Wonder is able to hold the lane assignments once this map starts opening up, because you are looking at Origin's comp with the Kennen as well as a Yasuo. And speaking of Kennen,
oh, there we go. Cold. Ladies and gentlemen, you wanted to see Cold step up. You wanted to see Cold have an impact in the early game for Frostgurren. And on his undefeated Rek'Sai, 1-1-1.
But hold on, look at the sharks. They're surrounding the water. They smell it.
Oh, here comes Caps. Waiting to see the CC. Alfari, remember, has used absolutely everything. Does get taken out. And of course, the Rune Prison onto Cold. So there's an instant reply. Teleport is now being thrown down. I think Wonder should be joining the fray. And this will be a couple extra plates secured.
No, poor Alfari. It feels like that he doesn't get anything in these games. All of the attention goes on to trying to shut him down. And even though Origin find a good kill onto Wonder, G2 immediately answer back. And again, this is one of the scary things about this roaming duo of Perks and Mickey. They're not limited to a single lane. They can move wherever they want. They have a lot of mobility. And because they have the smite, they can even steal away those jungle camps.
And it's the fact that champions like Rakan and Pyke, even not having access to their ultimates, have so much mobility and that utility that you're talking about to create plays like that.
Also notice how Jankos moved away from bot into mid to hold the lane against the Yasuo, and they actually just conceded some turret plates to the Sona and Taric lane. This will be one of the biggest gold investments that we've seen for a Sona Taric lane really anywhere. But it's because G2 are getting so many advantages elsewhere.
Is it really an investment if G2 just left the lane? I guess it counts as a donation,
I guess that's a better descriptor, yeah.
Well, look, Origin, because they were donated lane priority down bottom, they're able to group up and take the first Infernal Drake, but it is at the cost of a lot of gold. G2 Esports will just about secure this tower if Wonder sticks around. He's backed away because Nukeduck arrives just in the nick of time. Nukeduck has got himself those Berserker's Greaves, also starting to itemize up.
And it kind of feels like both teams are getting what they want. Origin, again, very strong team fighting, but the Infernal's going to help them as this game scales later on, whereas G2 really needed Wonder to be competitive in a side lane. And now we are setting up for a potential dive.
Oh no, Mithy and Patrick, they need to use the Cosmic Radiance flawlessly. That's going to be the time in just in time. Yes, all right, Mithy got the flash. Crescendo buys some time, but instantly killed. Jankos gets his first of the game. 1-0-0 on that Morgana. More plates falling in favor of G2. It's a 1,000 gold lead and OG just had no response.
Ooh, looks like Caps is going in.
Oh, the Flash Ghost Water dive. Look at that damage. Mickey almost goes out, but simply not enough. Cold unable to chase, but is there a buy? Alfari's chasing. He's got no flash available. Slicing Maelstrom's a second or two away. I think that's on cooldown. Not able to chase, and Alfari decides not or cannot get in.
And it looks like Origin are just being run around the map. G2 grouping up as this 4-man unit. Even with the ultimate from Taric, there is so much single target CC that Taric was able to use the ultimate. The ultimate landed on him, it then ran out, and then he died. That is how much single target CC this G2 squad has, and if you get caught out, you'll not escape.
And again, just the ability to lair it as well, because as soon as he came out of all of that, he just knocked straight up into the air by Mickey, holding the knock-up.
So here, we can see the collapse coming in from G2. They pushed in mid with the duo, and they start making their way down. Mithy holds the ultimate. This is good. You don't need to use it yet, but first gets knocked back in with the root from Jankos. Then you have the binding. You also have the feathers here. You have the charm knockup. And then you have the execute from Caps just to round things out, even though he didn't need it.
Unbelievable. And then, of course, Caps goes in for the re-engage, the secondary tower. Imagine you use the ultimate there, not the flash, as I called first time round.
Oh, beautifully done from G2. These dives have been absolutely exquisite. They've lost nothing for it.
I just feel like G2 are so determined to make sure that Perkz isn't the only guy role swapping on the team. This composition, like everywhere, you get to play support, you can play support.
And just look at the gold as well. Even though OG have had Nukeduck sitting in a solo lane, they still have 3 of their main carries, all with the highest amount of gold in this game. Wonder and Perkz are doing exceptionally well. Jankos in the 1v2, arguably against a Sona Taric is not that impressive, but he's still holding his own.
Yep.
And G2, like, you can see they came in very prepared with this strategy.
And kind of focusing in on the Morgana build path is, I'll hold it for a second because here comes Caps.
All right, here he comes. Bone Skewer out, Bone Skewer in. Alfari's in trouble. Soul Shackles will do some time. Slicing Maelstrom will do a little, and Caps gets the dunk. Now on the back end, Perkz, he manages to pick up his 200th kill in playoffs. Now Origin are running for their lives. Perkz isn't done yet, looking to re-engage. Dark Binding won't find a target as Patrick and Mithy are running. The Crescendo did a lot of work. Cosmic Radiance may not be used just yet, and it's not available. Not gonna work out, and Patrick and Mithy are now in trouble. Mithy caught, stunned up. I'm waiting to see if Caps can find the Bone Skewer. Lure in prison, just missing, just going wide. Wonder takes a little bit of damage from Patrick, throwing out the overloads onto the overloads! Wonder finds yet another kill. It's a 5,000 gold lead.
And G2 are just snowballing this game. They find another successful fight up towards the top side of the map, and now they lead with 9 kills.
And it just feels like G2 are running at a breakneck pace, and Origin are just too slow to react. There's too many things happening across the map for them to do anything, and G2 are winning at every single point.
It's absolutely insane. This composition is crazy from the side of G2. Like, we always talk about win conditions and like objective and how you look to win a game, but Against G2, it feels like there's never any answers. Win conditions go out the window, and then you just throw everything on the table.
And, you know, when I was looking at the composition, I was just about to point out Morgana's build path by going for the GLP. You know, it's kind of that new Morgana. It's not about flashing forward and using the ultimate and the hourglass. It's about kind of kiting back, letting them try to kite into you and then slowing them down with the hose. And when you have the kite back of Morgana, it's so hard to run into a Xayah, it's so hard to run into a Ryze. I was like, how are you ever going to attack G2's composition 5v5? But the thing is they're just sprinting at everyone with double mobility boots.
Wonder almost picks up a kill here in a 1v3. Frostgrowing in such a difficult situation. All right, there comes the unburrow from Cole.
Got him.
Just to at least get one. That was a 4-on-1. Now Nukeduck is in trouble. He will get taken out by Perks. The feathers out, the feathers back, and they pick up one. Now Caps looking for the bone skewer, going to use the dive to escape. The re-engage. Mickey goes down with the quickness. Slicing Maelstrom, simply not enough. Alfari is dead, and it is a top lane schooling as Wonder has way more impact than Alfari.
And Origin are trying to get down and dirty with G2. They're trying to step 2, meet them in these skirmishes, but they are just getting outclassed right now.
I barely have enough time to breathe. Imagine what Origin have to be doing on this stage. Coming up against this type of funnel composition. Now there's a lot of damage under Caps. The crescendo comes down from Patrick, but there's no follow-up. There's nothing more to do. G2 get yet another 5-0-5. Perks is on a rampage, and he is destroying Origin. 6,000 gold up at 15 minutes Verius. G2 are looking for another title.
And the funny thing about it is, at the end of last game, we talked about how OG just want to try and get something more standard. They want to try and have more normal lanes so that they can just play standard League of Legends, because that's where they have the most success. And G2 just went, nah. We're just going to throw everything that we can. We're going to create the craziest comp. And this is just another example where they're even making these insane plays. Like Wonder going in 1v3, thinking you can find this kill. And originally you think, okay, this is the first overconfident mistake from G2. But while that's going on, Nukeduck is getting caught.
And again, you're still dealing with all of the experience lead and gold lead that G2 have their composition. I love the point that you bring up about standard play. Again, Origin are a team that need to prepare for their opponent. They need to sculpt these sculpt these compositions that they know exactly how to counter your playstyle. How can you ever see this coming? What are you supposed to do?
There's no answer to that, Frostgrowing. And for Origin, down this game, it feels like it's donezo. It feels like they are too far behind. You have to admit they have scaling with the team fight. And you have to admit that Wonder's 97% of the vote for POV stream is a big part of why G2 are winning.
I think the only person who's truly donezo for Origin right now is Alfari. Playing a side lane is just a pipe dream at this point for the Kennen. He's like, please give me any type of table scrap that I can find. And he's mainly playing for the 5v5. This is the flanking Kennen. Get me some assists, get me back into this game, find me some free EXP. Because if any one of G2's members find him, he will be popped.
I mean, he's going to, and there's not a lot of tools like you mentioned. Frosk, I've got a question for you, which I'll get to once we see if G2 decide to push. Jankos is down in the bottom lane. He's going to get helped out now by Caps, as we see the tower being taken up in the top lane. There's a little bit BM with that vote on top of it. Now the tower falls in the mid. The tower falls in the bot. Perks, Wonder, and Jankos significantly ahead of their opposing team members. And I'm going to go back to something you've said a lot this split, Frostgrowing, that certain players on certain champions, they play that limit League of Legends, you know, playing on the absolute edge of safety and recklessness.
Yeah.
Is G2 that as a team as well? Because they've got it individually on the champions, but when you see this, you know, Soda Taric in the previous game and now Funnel in this one, is it fair?
I mean, the idea is that, and a lot of the players will throw down the term limit League of Legends, it's that you're playing to the champion to the maximum capacity in any situation. You know, G2 look at a 50-50 situation, they say, no, we are the 51%. We will take it every single time because we are just better players than you, and continuously they prove that.
I think what's just super impressive about G2 is the fact that they constantly come up with new things as well. You know, over in Caps, he senses it. His spidey senses are tingling.
Oh man,
shadows.
Look at the ghost. Spooky, spooky ghost. Actually interrupt.
But one of the things that impresses me so much is when we think about Griffin over in the LCK, in their final against SKT, they brought out the Pantheon Talia bot lane. right? Something that showed up a couple times over in Korea, and they tried it. That innovation. Griffin was almost like the LCK equivalent to what we have here in G2. And the thing about G2 is, like, they never stop with their innovation either. They always come with something new, but somehow they always make it work. They find these creative ways of bringing out something interesting and dynamic and crazy, and yet still they make it work. And, like, the strange thing is, Origen isn't a bad team. We saw what they did to Fnatic yesterday. Yet G2 is making them look so weak in comparison, and like that just goes to show how strong G2 is a team.
The delta between G2 and the rest of the field is gigantic, is what it feels like. Now, Origen, of course, they are down 80k. They have...
Do not ask me how they bounce back,
because
I don't know.
I'm not going to.
I just don't know.
Look, at the end of the day, this game is so much in G2's favor. 20 minutes, 8,000 gold lead, 13 kills to 3, 5 towers to 1. Like, the only advantage, they got an Infernal Drake. Like, that's it. That's simply not good enough to win this game. But what a difficult situation to be in for Origen coming up against its comp.
I mean, technically, you have Nukeduck still in a champion like Yasuo. He's looking for some breakpoints in terms of the itemization. Like,
Sona Tarek's only going to get better as the game goes on.
But it's just, can they survive to that point? Because you should be in full turtle mode as Origen. You kind of see them constantly group up towards their base, and then they kind of look at each other like, okay, the waves have pushed in, we're safe enough to look for some plays, and then they quickly reach out and grab the farm. The problem is that they were able to do that before the Baron spawn, so they've had like a 3-minute window to safely grab farm. Now that the Baron is there, you see G2 just immediately run to it and say, okay, we're ready, boys. Come and fight us.
Here we go. Well, OG are going to answer with the fight. This is the last-ditch effort that they have in order to keep this game alive.
All right, 20 minutes, 30 seconds on the clock. Origen looking to engage. I believe that might be the quickest. We're going to confirm with stats. Look at the re-engage. Cosmic Rental by some time. Slicing Maelstrom does so much damage. Imagine if Origen were not 8,000 gold down. They've got themselves a 1-for-1. Here's the re-engage. Mithy gets chunked out. The knock-up and the dash away from Mickey. Now Wonder's looking to run down the rest of the team. Mithy gets popped. The shield from Wonder. The dive from Caps. And now Cole is the last member standing. G2 Esports get Baron and 3 kills. And again, I just think to myself, what if the early game had not gone the way that it did?
And that was so important why they needed to get Wonder ahead of Alphari. They needed that secondary damage dealer when they have a team composition of triple support alongside Xayah. Like you said, imagine if Origen weren't 8k down there for that fight.
Wow, not going to be the case. Cold almost kills Mickey. He takes G2 Esports on a wild goose chase. Caps 5-0-6. Gets the kill secure, extends that gold lead even further. And Frostgurden, the last-ditch efforts to get back in here, feels that's it. This should be G2 going 2-0.
And honestly, that fight looked pretty promising for Origen at the start. It felt like the fact that G2 were locked in that pit, and then they used a lot of their mobility skills to actually split apart. And oh, this actually looks pretty good for Origen. Maybe they can really win this, but as you said, Frost, the damage just wasn't quite there from the side of Origen. So good ultimate from Mithy actually protects a lot of the members. Then a great ulti onto the backline from Alphari. And you think, okay, this is great. But Yanko's buying time with the Morgana against 4. And then they dive in. Mithy flashes in. But then this is where Caps and Wonder comes into fruition. He flashes onto the backline, he melts through them, Rise surprisingly tanky, always catches people off guard, and then the rest of G2 can come to help support him and swing the fight into an eventual ace.
And again, that mobility coming from Pyke, that he can just somersault back over the Baron pit.
It's just so difficult, and it's, you know, it is beautiful to watch. G2 Esports now looking to finish out this game. They got themselves pressure in multiple lanes. Wonder's down bottom, and the rest of the squad now looking to join him.
But also think about the statement that this makes to the rest of the world as well. G2, they want to go to the international events. They want to compete around the world, and they're saying, we're ready to bring out everything in this final to secure it.
I love that thought. What a statement. Hey, we're willing to play Funnel Comp if it makes sense. And of course, that is one of the benefits of winning this split. They will advance to MSI. G2 Esports have got themselves an inhibitor. We're halfway to another victory, maybe more if you actually think about it that way. 12k gold up, and Origen, they've got to be thinking and talking. How do we play against this comp? How do we handle Sona Tarek? How do we go into the next draft?
So step one, I think, for this game still, is that you are looking for that big wombo combo. You still did feel good that, okay, if we weren't so far behind, if we had just played the team fight slightly different, we did make a lot of ground there. So you need to clear out your jungle, you need to clear out these wards, and again, get to these farm lanes and try to turtle. But getting caught here, that would be devastating.
Oh, here comes Wanda. Round warp will come in, and Cole does go down. Former teammates killing one another.
Okay, I tried to find the silver lining. Throw it out. You can't get away from these guys. They're too fast.
That's it. G2's glass is full. Origins is empty. There is no silver lining here. G2 Esports.
They're just going to dive him.
They are going to dive. Cosmic Radiance is thrown down by Mithy. There's some sort of engage, but look how far he just gets Rune Prison in place. He simply cannot get past. The quickness used by Mickey in the dash out. Now that's good damage from Nuke, but again, there's simply too much to fight through. There's the knock-up, knock-down, and it is simply too easy for G2 Esports. Now Patrick will be the last man standing before he gets aced by G2. And I have a quick stat for you. When G2 Esports ran Funnel Comms in summer of 2018, they went undefeated 5-0. In the finals of spring, they are looking to continue that streak 6-0. At 24.5 minutes, G2 Esports funnel their way to victory.
What a convincing victory from G2 as they look to lead the series 2-0. Beautiful stuff from this G2 Esports squad.
The smile on Yangos's face. He was the POV stream he played Morgana that game. G2 were impeccable. They also secured the quickest Baron of the spring splits.
And it's just a stylistic mismatch here. It feels like G2 are just Origin's kryptonite, a team that is all about preparation, that is all about control, slow, methodical play. G2, they don't necessarily need these crazy creative picks. They have them, but they can also just be so crazy and creative and problem solve on the spot in a game. They are so hard to pin down. They can morph into any form that they need to be.
So Betty, if you were to put yourself in Origin's shoes...
Oh, great, let's do that.
I mean, how do you respond to that? Because we already had the question of Tarek Sona coming into this series. Now G2 have thrown Pike, Morgana, Funnel into the equation as well. It was difficult enough already.
Oh, I don't know. What do you ban in this game? Like,
I mean, that's the thing. We were like, okay, Origin, they need to get cold on an agency jungler. You know, we love the Rek'Sai. He was undefeated on it. Boom, they got
Origin did everything that we wanted them to do, right?
And it didn't matter.
It did.
And if you guys are sitting at home, get your friends and family, because who knows what the hell G2 are going to do next. Did they need the Funnel Comp to win this game? That's a question I'm going to ask them later, right? Because maybe this was their answer to Tarek Sona.
I think it was.
Did they do it
That's
to
what
Flex?
I think
Did
it
they
was.
do it to start? Like, is this the souped-up version of Blitzcrank from yesterday?
I mean, I legitimately think this is their answer to the Sona Tarek lane, because the fact that you can't play around bot side of the map, it means that you know where the jungle is going to be.
I'll tell you what. Good luck, Shocks and Analyst Desk.
Thank you very much. We've got this, okay? Guys, how sick is G2 Esports right now?
Holy moly. It is insane. Like, I'm already thinking ahead. I'm thinking MSI, I'm thinking G2 take it all, because they are showing us some insane things.
Yeah, me and Yamato literally looked at each other when they did that tower dive top lane, when Caps roamed at level 3 or something. We're like, oh no, this team is actually just leagues ahead of everyone else we see here in Europe. And watching them, you know, try to prove it here, finish it out, and then go on international, I just can't wait to see it.
Yeah, so before we get there, let's, as Quickshot asked us so kindly, break down what was going on here. The picks and bans were absolutely bonkers. I want you to make, tell me the method behind the madness. What is going on?
Well, starting it off, I actually think that G2 baited OG into picking the Sona Tarek. They first rotation Zyra Khan, which is not something we've seen a lot from them. And I think they were already planning like, hey, if they take the Sona Tarek, we're just leaving it up for them. We have this funnel strategy prepared to beat it.
I think the biggest reason why the funnel strategy works so well against the Sona Tarek is because the Morgana can practically lane alone against the Sona Tarek. And the biggest problem when you face a Sona Tarek is the fact that you need to have this constant kind of rain and barrage of damage. And when you're playing funnel, there's only one guy that's going to make big damage, unless you're G2. They have Wonder as well, shooting cannons with Rise. So looking at the whole team composition, the Tara cool doesn't matter because Xayah doesn't really use any big cooldowns. She just keeps auto-attacking. And I think it was a fantastic response to the Sonatari.
I completely agree. So then, there, we saw it again, Funnel. Now, of course, if we think back to 2018, Funnel was all the rage. G2 played it very well. Youngpos was on brown duty all the time. Ender, take us back to how that worked and tell us how it's different, if at all, from what we saw here from G2.
Yeah, G2 was the best Funnel team in 2018, by the way. And back then, it was just so good because there was no cap. There was no punishment for doing it. But when we saw it,
Could you break it down in simple terms? What was it? What is Funnel?
Yeah, the idea is that you take Smite on an AD carry-like champion, you roam around the jungle with your support, and you don't have a true mid lane. The idea is you farm your camps and walk mid lane every single time the minions are going to be pushed in your tower to die. What this does is it super feeds your AD carry. Your support that's walking around with them is going to be pretty low level, but your ADC is going to hit item breakpoints very, very quickly and try to steamroll the game off of major completions.
And to take a trip down memory lane, the counter always to Funnel was to pressure the side lanes. That's why the Sona Tiger is so weak. You don't pressure anything there. And at the same time, the approach you can take is to win the 2v2 in the mid lane, which you tried early, and it didn't pay off. And if you fall behind against the Funnel, you don't get back because they're just farming more than you, and all that money is on one person.
So if I'm correct here, you were of course on the bounce team as well, the playtest team rather, and there were active steps taken to avoid this Funnel strategy from working. Right. What were those, and how is it that G2 can just play it here today?
Yeah, so back in the middle of the summer split, it was introduced. It was called the Monster Hunter debuff, which basically meant back in the day, if you had the highest minion score on your team with a jungle item, you were going to get 10 less gold per lane minion that you kill. Now, in the preseason that was removed, they realized, okay, Funnel is back, and it was put back in a little bit different. Now, the way it works is that if your gold for minions is greater than half your gold of monsters, then you get that 10 less reduction up until you complete your jungle item. So what this means is that Perks, it's a lot to follow along with, but bear with me.
There.
What this means is that when you get something like the First Blood in the mid lane, like Yamato mentioned, you're super fed into finishing your warrior. Once you finish warrior, you no longer get the reductions and continue to farm minions so well.
And I think that brings us back to this game then, because also normally Funnel, you gotta wait for it, you know, you gotta invest the resources in it and wait until your AD carry can rank up. This wasn't the case because G2 got into fights, they got kills, and it could just Funnel so much better.
This gives me flashbacks. This gives me flashbacks to scrimming when Funnel was the thing. It was always if the Funnel gets ahead, all of a sudden the game is so rough because it just pressured the whole map. Transferred the pressure, you can't pressure the side lanes. They managed to get 1 kill on Rise, but beyond that,
yeah, really, there's not much. And the problem is that you never win a single fight where the funneled player is in. You always lose it unless you can immediately burst them at the start. That would be the answer, but you see Sonatark in bot lane, that's all about playing back in team fights, not about diving in and trying to assassinate someone like the Xayah.
And because of all the action, it did turn into an incredibly one-sided game for G2 Esports once again. We're just trying to build up the tension before you see us again, guys. Chill, all planned. Now, I do want to kind of parlay this into a bigger conversation of something we just touched on. And I think it's always difficult because they are still in this best of 5 and we cannot count OG out. But I want to call up Ocelot's tweet, who tweeted during this game, G2 Esports can play whatever the F they want. Do you guys agree? Because it definitely looks like there is nothing to do for OG in this series.
Yeah, I mean, Caps played support that game. The best player in the league was on Pyke support while his jungler was playing Morgana. Yes, they can play whatever they want.
And what does that mean?
I think the stats team is probably enjoying that one with the minion deficits and all that's going on. But I think looking into the future, like even looking into the next game that's going to happen, what the hell do you do? Do you ban the funnel? Do you think about how you play into funnel? Do you tap into the old roots? There's so much that you need to kind of digest between 2 games, and it's incredibly difficult already now in this series to adapt.
Also, you know, it's just incredible that G2, with the power they have on every single one of these players, no sweat, completely another gear, completely a different game plan, a different strategy with a lot of nuances, and it doesn't matter. They just shift gears so easily.
Yeah, it's really easy for them, and it just, they play so well on an individual level. They win all of their matchups, but then also as a team, you can see them coordinating plays around the map, whether it's both supports roaming top lane to get the dive off or making these plays on the sides. It really is impressive to watch from this team.
I think what we're looking at here, if we look at G2 and their gameplay, I feel like this could potentially be the best European roster of all time.
I'm just gonna let it breathe because it is a very weighty